Today we're going to look at solving multi-step equations. Our first problem says 1/2 x minus 5 is equal to 10, and our directions say to solve in all of these problems today. So again, I want to isolate my variable, which means gets x by itself. There's my wall, in order to find a value. So this 1/2 x, that's what I'm going to do last. That's 1/2 times x. First thing I want to do is I don't need that 5, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Again, do that opposite operation, and I have 1/2 x is equal to 15. And from here, I want to multiply by 2, because the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. So whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do the other side. My 2's cross cancel. I'm left with x is equal to 30. In my next equation, again, I'm going to draw my wall. But before I do anything, I realize that I have like terms on one side, on the left-hand side, that need to be combined first. So before I start moving everything around, let me just concentrate on that. So I have 7x minus 3x, which leaves me with 4x, minus 8 is equal to 24. So from here, again, I want to isolate my variable, so I need to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 8, do the opposite operation, add 8 to both sides. I have 4x is equal to 32. And now I need to get that x by itself. So I have 4 times x, so my opposite operation is 4. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I have x is equal to 8. Number 3 says 5x plus 3 times the quantity of x plus 4. So there's my wall. I have parentheses, so I need to take care of that first. So I'm going to rewrite my 5x, and I'm going to distribute that 3. So 3 times x gives me 3x. 3 times 4 gives me a positive 12, equals to 28. And similar to the last problem, I can combine some like terms before I start moving things. So I have 5x plus 3x gives me 8x, plus 12 is equal to 28. And trying to get my x by itself, I'll do the opposite operation, which is subtract 12. And I have 8x is equal to 16. So x is equal to 2. So that's my final answer. Now, similar to the one-step equations, I can always check these. So what I'm going to do is x is equal to 2. I'm going to check this one. So wherever I see an x in my original equation, I'm always going to go back to the original, I'm going to substitute a 2. So I have 5 times 2 plus 3 times the quantity of 2 plus 4 is equal to 28. First thing, again, I want to take care of my parentheses. So I have 5 times 2 plus 3 times 6 is equal to 28. Now I can multiply left to right, so 5 times 2 gives me 10, plus 3 times 6 gives me 18. When I add those together, I do in fact get 28, which is a true statement, so I know that my original answer, x equals 2, is correct. In number 4, I have 6 equals 3/4 times the quantity of x plus 7. If I had any other number here, I would distribute, right? 2, I would take 2 times x and 2 times 7, so I'm actually going to practice doing this with fractions. So on the left-hand side, again, there's my wall. So on the left-hand side, I'm just going to rewrite the 6, and I'm going to distribute. So I get 3/4 times x, and then 3/4 times 7 is actually going to give me 21 over 4. So I'm just getting some practical use with fractions here. So again, I need to get x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 21 over 4 from both sides. I want to use my calculator this to help me out here. So 6 minus 21 over 4 is 3 over 4. So that equals 3 over 4x. I want to get my x by itself, so I can multiply both sides by 4/3. And in this case, x is equal to 1. That's my final answer. In number 5, I have a fraction, but the values look slightly different. So I have x plus 7 all over 8 is equal to 5. So I don't like that fraction. It makes it hard for me to solve. So I'm going to multiply by 8. Since I am dividing by 8, I'm going to do the opposite operation. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other side. There's my wall. So my 8's here will simplify. So I have x plus 7 is equal to 40. Subtract 7. And my final answer is x is equal to 33.